Here's a Monday American Family News update for you. I'm Bronson Woodruff. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio brought a warning to Panamanian leader Jose Raul Mulino on Sunday. He said immediately reduce what President Donald Trump says is Chinese influence over the Panama Canal area or face possible retaliation from the United States. Rubio traveled to the Central American country to tour the Panama Canal and have face-to-face talks with Mulino. Mulino has resisted pressure from the new U.S. government over management of the canal. It's a waterway that's vital to global trade. Mulino told reporters after the meeting that Rubio made no real threat of retaking the canal or the use of force. Speaking on behalf of Trump, who has demanded the canal be returned to U.S. control, Rubio told Mulino that Trump believed China's presence in the canal area may violate a treaty that led the United States to turn the waterway over to Panama back in 1999. That treaty calls for the permanent neutrality of the American-built canal. Mexico has agreed to deploy 10,000 troops to the U.S. Mexico border in exchange for a one-month delay on President Donald Trump's threatened tariffs. The announcement came from Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum in a social media post a short time ago. Her announcement came about 12 hours before tariffs were set to take effect from us against Mexico. Trump and Sheinbaum spoke today and agreed that Mexico will do more to combat drug trafficking into the U.S. and that the U.S. will step up efforts to block the flow of firearms into Mexico. Sheinbaum also said that officials with the U.S. and Mexico were beginning talks on wider trade and security issues. This all came after Trump signed an order on Saturday to impose stiff tariffs on imports from Mexico, Canada, and China. He posted on social media that the tariffs were necessary to protect Americans, pressing the three nations to do more about the manufacture and export of illicit fentanyl, and for Canada and Mexico to reduce illegal immigration into the U.S. Staffers for the U.S. Agency for International Development were told to stay out of the agency's Washington headquarters today. This is according to a notice they received after billionaire Elon Musk announced President Trump had agreed with him to shut down the agency. USAID staffers said they also tracked more than 600 employees who reported being locked out of the agency's computer systems overnight. Those still in the system received emails saying, quote, at the direction of agency leadership, end quote. The headquarters building will be closed to agency personnel on Monday, February 3rd. Thousands of people protesting mass deportations planned by President Donald Trump marched in Southern California on Sunday, including in downtown Los Angeles. Their demonstrators blocked a major freeway. Protesters gathered in the morning on LA's historic Olvera Street before marching to City Hall. They called for immigration reform and carried banners with slogans like "Nobody is illegal." By the afternoon, marchers had blocked all lanes of US 101, causing traffic to back up in both directions and on downtown surface streets. The demonstrators sat down in freeway lanes while a line of California Highway Patrol officers stood by. The CHP and the Los Angeles PD said there were no immediate reports of arrests. That's all for this AFN News Update. You can find more news from a Christian perspective on our website, afn.net. Thank you for watching. I'm Bronson Woodruff.